Hare Krishna. Thanks for joining. We'll start our class today by chanting our regular prayers. Let me share my screen as well. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thanks for joining today's session. I hope you can see my screen. I was just thinking maybe we can do super quick review of previous session as well. Okay, so last session it was quite interesting because there we understood how Krishna is actually connecting to us. So in this chapter of Purushottam Yoga, we learned very interesting concept of this upside down banyan tree, which represents our own existence in this material world. In spiritual world, sorry, in the spiritual world, we have various spiritual activities, and they are all connected to Krishna, glorification of Krishna in connection with the Lord. But that same activities, when they are reflected in our own selfish desire, as you can see in this diagram, the whole activities become upside down. So more we go away from Krishna, more we away go from spiritual world, more and more denser and darker our spiritual life becomes. So we can see that with different spaces also around here. So this network of karma, Krishna is saying, don't analyze what is happening in your life because of what and because of whom. Don't go in that direction. Krishna says that take the weapon of detachment and start cutting all the attachments to this particular material world, the desires which we are having. And then Krishna goes on to explain the spiritual world, so that even Brahma says that it's very unfortunate that we have very deep interest in small news or activities of this material world, but we do not have much of interest what is happening in the spiritual world, or because all kind of great character people, what kind of reactions, what kind of interactions they have, it is going unlimitedly in the spiritual world, and it is written so nicely in the scriptures, but we have not developed taste for it. It's a bit unfortunate. Then Krishna goes on to explain the status in this particular material world, how the living entities are struggling with six senses and mind, how they are changing their bodies based on their desires. And one who is knowledgeable, who has trained himself how to understand these modes of material nature, he can exactly see who is going where. And he can also see what he needs to do to save himself. So, this spiritual vision is acquired by association, by serving the great sadhus, association with them, listening from them, through regular and disciplined scriptural reading and contemplation, and of course, via regular meditative chanting. Then Krishna also explained how he has been involved right from the design of this universe. So, Daiva, the word which we use, is actually intelligence behind this creation. So, this entire intelligence, how Krishna has put even in small things, right from macrocosmic level to microscopic level, to take care of living entities, to help them, to guide them. So, all these where all these places we can see how Lord is involved, because he likes, he actually wants that every single spiritual soul wants to come back, and he wants to direct relationship with them. So this Lord, as a sitting in everyone's heart, gives them remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness, whatever is required at that incident, so that uh, we don't get too much depressed. Also, at the same time, we don't get too much hyped up about ourselves, and we can get right guidance from within. The problem is when we are involved so much externally, we cannot listen the voice from within. So God is always there to help us, and the virtue of gratitude, that whatever God has been doing or arranging for us in this life, and more importantly, explicitly praying to the Lord, seeking His guidance. That's what will help us. So this humility aspect of God, that I mean, although in so many places Krishna says in Gita that Krishna surrender to that Supreme Lord, surrender to that originality of Brahman. So here in this verse, Krishna directly says that because I am the transcendental, I am the greatest in both the world, material as well as spiritual. I am that supreme person. Very rarely in few places Krishna mentions directly that he is that supreme person. So that's a great humility of the Lord, as well as his compassionate nature also, that he wants all of us to read this, understand this, and come back to him. So in the previous chapter, we saw that how this Purushottam Yoga, how God actually genuinely wants us to come back. Now, in this particular chapter today, which is a chapter 16, and it's a super interesting chapter because this explains what are the actual obstacles for us to go back to him. So previous chapter we know that he is desperate to take us back, but now what is holding us? So that we will discuss a part of this 16th chapter. It is called as Daiva Asuri Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. So Daiva means the divine qualities, Asurik means demoniac qualities, Sampada means the stock of all these qualities. So we will discuss this chapter, and interestingly, in the very first three verses, Krishna mentions the divine qualities which are very much required for us to progress in this world, and rest of the chapter is actually more or less analyzing demonic qualities. So we'll spend little 5 minutes on this particular slide to understand these divine qualities, because we actually like the people who exhibit these qualities. We ourselves want to develop these qualities in due course of time. But what is stopping us, that we'll see in the next slide. So let's understand at least what are the divine qualities. So godly men who are endowed with such kind of divine nature, they exhibit fearlessness. That means they are not in constant worry or depending on somebody else. They have full faith that whatever is happening in my life, Krishna knows what he is doing. So I fully depend on his plan. That fearlessness is very much required. Desire to purify one's existence is required. The cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Cultivation is not, we are not expected to be perfect in spiritual knowledge, but the desire to cultivate such a spiritual knowledge, that itself, that struggle of cultivation itself is actually a divine quality. Of course, the charity, self control, performing sacrifice, various types of austerities, simplicity, truthfulness. If you actually focus on even one of these qualities, person who is austere by nature, he is not looking for any sense gratification, or he is ready to take up some hardships to help others. If he is living very simple with basic minimum needs, if the person is very truthful, the person is not getting angry every time, even if he is getting, somebody comes and disturb him, he takes a step back, he reflects and then responds very responsibly. Such a person is like dear to everyone. And of course, renunciation means no more attached. Tranquility means his mind is at peace. And this last paragraph is little more interesting. Aversion to fault finding. This is a very, very important divine quality. Why? It's not that the important part is aversion. So fault finding means we may find so many faults in somebody because he's doing this, he's supposed to do that, this and that. But even though these faults are obvious, the person is averse. He's not interested to find out these faults. He just prays for them and inspires them to go for the good qualities. So automatically such people, we do not have to correct every small thing. The more they get attached to divine things, this demonic natures will automatically go away. Compassion for all living entities and freedom from covetousness. What is covetousness? Covetousness means even if something worthy belongs to somebody else who is also deserves it, but somehow or other constantly, when will I get this, when will I get that, why that person got that, that envious nature as well as that desperate desire to get those things to us, that is covetousness. Of course, freedom from such a covetousness means person is no more expecting these normal material things. Gentleness, modesty, steady determination. Determination but steady. So no matter what ups and downs comes in life, he's very disciplined and determined. The vigor, very energetic about executing this devotional service. forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness. And the last line, importantly, freedom from envy, as we discussed as a part of covetousness, and freedom from the passion for honor. This it's also very important. Um, so everybody is so desperate to get some kind of appreciation, some kind of recognition for the activity, but that sometimes it becomes so passionate that if we are in management position, even if somebody else has done something good, we would like to snatch their good things and publicize on our name. So this kind of freedom from the passion for honor, so it's really divine quality. So Krishna mentions some list of these qualities, and if you strive to develop them, automatically the divine nature will be bestowed towards us. And this process is gradual. The more we contemplate even on these qualities, God will guide us from within when we should exhibit these qualities. It's very important. Now Krishna, starting from the verse 4 till rest of the chapter, he actually focuses something on demoniac qualities, because honestly speaking, we are in Kali Yuga, and in this material world, we are surrounded by so many people who are exhibiting these demoniac qualities, and there are some or other our own demoniac qualities which are there in our heart. They also happen to just ooze out because of such kind of association. If you are not conscious, if you are not focused enough, if you are not protective enough to protect our divine qualities, this demoniac nature becomes obvious. So let's go through these qualities as well. Arrogance. So, I mean, any kind of arrogant nature, that person feels that he's best and better than others and others don't know anything. Nobody likes such a person. Conceit, that is just trying to make fool of others. Anger, harshness, particularly in speech, in action, in expressions. This this all coming from within, and ignorance of what is actual truth. So Krishna says in 16.7, they do not know, such a demoniac people, they do not know what is to be done, what is not to be done. So because they are not reading scriptures, they are just doing as per their whims. They do not know what to be done, what not to be done. Neither cleanliness. Cleanliness means doing, executing something in a very, very exemplary manner, nor proper behavior. So they might be speaking nice things, but it is not getting exhibited in their behavior, nor truth. So these may appear mild things, but these things, once they become part of nature, then person actually can drag down drastically. They say that, now this is the important part, this world is unreal. The very purpose of their life is not to recognize God, or not to recognize even presence of God in their life. Somehow or other they want to just throw the God out of their life. So they saw there is no foundation, no God in control. Whatever is happening around the world, there are so many theories proposing that it came by chance, then it happened by some blast, or things are happening on their own without any purpose. So many theories are there like that. And they say that it is produced of some kind of just lusty desires, and it has no other higher cause than just to propagate this excessive lusty propensities. So the entire life philosophy of these people is, I am the center of this universe, and everyone, everything, every single resource, what I see around is meant for my own pleasure. So with that mindset, there is nothing to do with the environment, nothing to do with the even people around me. A person goes in simply exploitation mindset. All the resources, all the people, senior, junior, everybody, whoever is around him, he just want to exploit something for his own pleasure. Now, slowly, what happens? This kind of nature gets absorbed by this thought processes. Somebody is not conscious to work on it. Then they engage. Now it comes into action. They engage in all unbeneficial. They don't bother. They want wars to go around the world so that I can sell my weapons. They want somebody else can go broke so that it becomes, so I can get benefited out of that. So this, they engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. So these people are not even caring that what are the basic human rights, or how can I help others to become better human being. No, they are just focused on themselves. So they engage in horrible works. You can see so many shoes or some kind of high pitch, high tech, some kind of bags or any other articles which we use by killing animals, by extracting their skin and everything. They engage in all kind of horrible work for purely for profits. Insatiable lust. So if you look at some billboards, some advertisements, it's just filled of selling the lust so that we can exploit all the vulnerabilities of others, and we can uh, we can just inadvertently exploit as much consciousness, attention, money from other people as much as possible. And this is all, they are all attracted by impermanent. They also know that these things, whatever they are doing, they'll last only for a short time, but they want to make it a sequence so that this whole thing, they expect that it will go for eternity. Krishna says that they believe that the gratification of the senses, seeing, hearing, speaking, tasting, whatever it is, the gratification of these senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. And with that, when they are founding their life, their anxiety is immeasurable, because more than more they slowly approach the ending part of their life, they are getting bound by network of so many hundreds and thousands of desire, because resources are limited, people are limited, and then desires are unlimited. Particularly the material enjoyment desires are unlimited, and they want to absorb in so many lusty and so many other activities, but the body is no more supporting, and then they try their best to still acquire as much as possible by all kind of illegal means. But these people, they they are just making future present for themselves. The entire thought process Krishna explains very nicely in the 16th chapter 13 to 15. This may appear now, if you take this only this, it may appear like your and my thought process also. What is wrong with that? But when we throw God out of the picture and we are just here to just exploit each other, this thought process is actually consciousness. It drags down the consciousness like anything. So look at how the demoniac person thinks. So much wealth I have already today, so much bank balance I have, and I will gain more according to my schemes. It's not that I will engage it in nice purpose, or I'll help it out some other poor people, or let me spread some spiritual knowledge. No, I will just gain more and more with my schemes. So much is mine, and it will increase in the future as well. So just greed is just unlimited. You can see in this particular line. He is my enemy. I have killed him. My other enemies also will be killed. So we start distinguishing who is helping me to gratify my senses and who is obstacle to gratify my senses. Anybody is obstacle, he is the enemy, need to be killed. So that's the height of envy. I am Lord of everything. I am enjoyer, perfect, powerful, happy. So this is actually self-delusion, thinking that there is nothing wrong can go wrong in my life. I am absolutely perfect. Whatever I think, everything becomes very perfect. I am richest person. I am surrounded by all kind of aristocratic relatives. So not me, my my kids, my brothers, my ancestors, my uncle, this, that, everybody is very aristocratic and perfect. I'm surrounded by all kind of perfect. If you look at the histories of these demoniac people, even the great demons, they have this horde of aristocratic demons who keep on telling them that yes, pumping them that yes, what you are thinking is correct, we are also correct. And at the end, there is no more powerful than me, no more happier than me, and whatever with I have acquired, I will do some, because they have little bit sense of this charity, but then that charity is all wrong placed. Person, even I had seen one of my previous official party, one of the manager, he sponsored today's beer and wine is from my personal quota, so I'm sponsoring this for all of you. So they may give some charity also, and think that with that charity they can become more perfect and enjoy more. Now, what happens with these results of such kind of demonic thoughts? So they think that this is all perfect. They are thinking they already have the greediness is perfect, the enviousness, other my enemy should get killed is perfect. The thought process that I am perfect, there is nothing greater than me is perfect. With that, what happens with that kind of thought process? They get perplexed by so many anxieties and bound by so much of network of illusion that they slowly and gradually they fall down into hell. Why hell? Because that's where they want to reduce God's existence as much as possible. So if you look at the planetary system, in higher planetary system, you can even see Lord Vishnu face to face. You can see it more occasionally. If you come to place like God Earth, we see only the statues of deity. We don't see direct person Krishna so often or very rarely in one of the lifetimes. In hellish planets, you can just forget the God. And that's why all the people, imagine bunch of people who just think that they are the great, who just think that anybody becoming obstacle in the sense gratification is their enemy, who just want to exploit each other. So it's actually a hellish condition. And whatever charity they are or sacrifices they are performing, it's only for the sake of namesake. They have no purpose or no desire to gratify Lord Krishna. They just want to gain it for more and more name and fame. And over a period of time, bound by all these false ego, strength, pride, lust, anger, these demons become envious of the supreme God. They just don't want to hear anything about God. And unfortunately or fortunately, the God is situated right in their heart, right is he's situated in another heart also. But they just want to erase the existence of God, and they just want to blaspheme the real religion. So such people, Krishna says, what happened to them? The destiny of such people is very, very unfortunate. What happens to them is they slowly and gradually they go down and down, and unfortunately they hate anybody who gives them right advice. They hate devotees who can tell them something, any kind of course correction in their life. So they have very less people left who can actually tell them something, and these less people also just tell them only demoniac propensities only. How can they enjoy more and more? So it is said that having somebody to correct us is one of the greatest benediction in life, because that they are the only real friends who can tell us how we need to course correct. Otherwise, everybody who are telling us to become more and more demoniac has their own individual purposes also. The more we become demoniac, more we become greedy, their self interest are also get satisfied. What happens to such people? Unfortunately, they are getting cast into material existence and demoniac spaces of life in lower planetary system. And Krishna says that gradually, slowly they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. And then, as we discussed, the lust, the anger, and the greed. Because of these three things, the entrance of hellish planet is wide open for them. So Krishna is saying Arjuna that some or other guide, consciously protect our consciousness from these three things: lust, anger, and greed. So this protection is possible only when we are in association with devotees, when we hear from others, when we read from others regularly. Otherwise, when we discard the scriptural injunctions and act according to our own whims means our material mind, means just becoming more envy, more greedy, more lusty. And with such a mindset, we attain neither perfection, nor any real happiness, nor any supreme destination. So, in this last slide of this session, I wanted to highlight what Krishna actually recommends, that how we can overcome this demoniac nature is we need to read the scriptures. So Krishna says that one who understands what is duty and what is not duty by regulations of scriptures, and one who after knowing this, one who acts on them, he can be gradually elevated. So to know the regulations of scripture, we have to read them regularly, and we have to make these scriptures as a basis of our life, because these scriptures, they actually help us to purify our consciousness, our perspective, how we look at the situation. They actually lead us to become to make us to they help us to become more happier in whatever situation we are, any ups and downs in life, and they help us to progress towards a supreme destination. So it's very important to understand this gradually word here, because when we see around us, there are so many situations, we have so many options, but if we take conscious decision to let me enjoy this one time, let me park aside godly consciousness for a while, and slowly we may drag down our consciousness, or some thought comes, okay, let me just go through some social media or spend some time on it, or let me watch certain websites, or let me engage in drinking or eating something which is not nasty and not so much conducive for spiritual growth. Any small decisions we take, either they are actually elevating or they are putting us down. So it's like a stock market chart. You may see sometime going up and down. But if we are not conscious enough, if we come in association of some deadly living entities, we are going to waste our so much of period of our life if we drag down to the hellish planet, that literally one has to wait till next day of Brahma, or even next day of even universe as well, next creation of universe. So it's becomes very difficult if we are surrounded by all the demonic people. So we have to become very conscious to not to compromise on our principles and values on day-to-day basis. We have little some more time, and I wanted to share one very interesting story connected to this particular part. I wanted to ask if somebody has any specific questions, please feel free to ask. We have set some time and I can spend 5 minutes on that. No worries. If you have anything in mind, please ask. Okay, if not, then I would like to share some very interesting story. Um, I could not get a slide for that story, but it's very interesting. So the thing is, there was this monk who actually spent a lot of time with his spiritual master in a very remote monastery. And for 12 years, he studied a lot of scriptures, and he just associated with other equally minded people and his spiritual master. Spiritual master, at one point of time, he asked one question to his disciple: what is the father of sin? And his disciple could not answer based on his scriptural study. So he knew the sinful activity, but he did not know what is the father of sin. So his spiritual master told that you do not have this worldly wisdom. What you have is all just bookish wisdom. So I suggest you please go out, gather some wisdom from the world, and particularly find out what is the father of sin. So this disciple agrees, and then he goes into the world. Is not so easy to live. We need to work, we need to get some money, and we need to survive with so much of temptations. So he is actually going from places to places, villages to villages. At one particular point of time, he becomes very thirsty, and he was specifically because he was traveling through jungle and then coming to small town. He was feeling really very thirsty. It was a daytime as well. So he knocks on one of the door and requests, "Can I get little water?" So that door opened, and one lady comes out, and she says, "Surely." And after giving the water, that he asks that, "Whose house is this?" So that lady says that, "I stay alone here, and by profession I am a prostitute." And then this person gets shocked. "Oh my God, I drank the water from the hand of such a lowly personality." And then he is so much shocked that it is visible on his face. He says, "Oh, I spent so much of my time in studying so much and doing so much of activities. I am such a great pandit, but today the whole thing is, all my merits are gone down to the drain just by drinking water from your hand." And that lady says that, I feel really sorry, but from personally I feel, at least in my life I got a chance to serve some great personality. Thanks for sharing your great qualifications. And then she says one very interesting thing, that she says, um, very rarely I have great personality visiting my abode, my house. So I would like to really request if you can just spend very little time, maybe 5-10 minutes in my house. I will give you 5 gold coins. Please think over it. So the person thinks that what she is asking, that with my association she may become better. On top of that, my realization is, this world, living in this world is not so easy. Money is also required. And if she's giving me 5 gold coins just by spending some minutes in her house, not a bad proposition. And then he enters, and then he says that, um, I'm actually looking forward to my next journey. And the way he was speaking, she makes out that he has not eaten for a long time. Then he says that if you can take little food in my house, I can give you some another 5 gold coins. And now this person is like, oh my God, I'm how does she know that I'm so much hungry as well? And these 5 more gold coins will be very useful in my next journey. So thinking like that, he agrees, but he says that I cannot eat from your hand, honestly speaking, because you are such a bad character. She says, "Eh, okay, it's fine. These are the ingredients. You cook yourself and you eat yourself, no problem. But if you allow me to serve you by cooking, because I'm getting some great pious credits, I will give you additional 5 gold coins." And now this person is counting in mind that entering 5 gold coins by eating 5 gold coins, by eating from her hand again, whatever she has cooked. So that is like 15 gold coins already. He says, okay. She quickly prepares something and brings it out. And now this is a very interesting part where she says that, of course, you can eat it on your own, but if you allow me to feed you at least few morsels, I'll give you 10 gold coins. Um, this person says that this is not right, but 10 gold coins already makes it 25. So what should I do? Just few more morsels? And then he says, okay, all right. And then he opens his mouth. So when that lady takes her hand near his mouth, immediately she drops that morsel and gives one tight slap on his face. This monk is shocked that what is this? I am such a great personality and this lowly lady is just slapping me on my face. Now take a pause and think over. Try to absorb what has happened. It's a very shocking situation for the monk. And the lady replies that this is the father of sin, the answer which you are searching for. And then this monk actually starts introspecting that what exactly has happened with me. Slowly and slowly, I'm actually compromising my principles step by step. And I have reached the person who was like 15 minutes back. I was not even ready to, I was repenting to drink water from her hand. And now I'm coming to the stage where I'm willing to eat from her hand. So, the moral of this particular story is actually nothing happens overnight. Nobody becomes very divine or demoniac overnight. But slowly, slowly, the kind of compromises which we make in our life, they build our nature. So if we think that, okay, let me do this little, or let me, nobody's watching me or nobody is going to make a note of me, it doesn't make much of difference. With so many excuses, logic, rationality, if we take some decisions, we internally we know which are not right, they actually make us slowly, slowly towards the demonic qualities. But at the same time, if we can resist even a small things, that okay, instead of doing this thing, I have time, let me engage in reading something or hearing something or doing some meditative activities or doing something even social welfare which will help others or which will help me also, even my professionally or even my spiritually, rather than spending on social media or something else, or rather than spending my time with somewhere else, let me. So the more we resist how to use our resources, how to use our time, how to use our thought process for a right purpose, if we somehow or other can build the habit of resisting our mind for right purpose, it will actually slowly and gradually we will walk towards the divine qualities. So thank you so much for patiently listening to this interesting story as well. And if we have 5 minutes, and I would like to give some quick summary of this chapter. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at this stage. Okay, no worries. If not, then let's go through the quick summary of this particular chapter. So it starts with Krishna's in the previous chapter, Krishna has expressed his eagerness that he wants all of us to be back. But for that, here we are going to analyze the root cause, why we are not able to cut our banyan tree, why we are not able to get detached from this uh, so much of network of karma, and why we cannot see, although Lord is spread in a macroscopic and microscopic level in this world, why we are not able to see his hand because of our own nature, the way we are cultivating. So in this particular chapter, we are going to analyze that part. So Krishna starts explaining the divine qualities, specifically for cultivating the spiritual knowledge, for cultivating the understanding the importance of sacrifice, austerity, simplicity, truthfulness, tranquility, all these important qualities, particularly aversion to fault finding, vigor, cleanliness, all these various things which actually make us bit by bit better person. It's very important to cultivate these divine qualities. Then Krishna goes on to explain what are the demoniac qualities and how they impact on our thought process, our existence, and then actions which we perform, and our how it actually drags us down in various species or various different lower planets. So these demoniac qualities, the arrogance, harshness, not bothering about cleanliness, not bothering our behavior, not bothering about truthfulness, manipulating others, and without any foundation, just thinking that there is no God and this everything is produced only for my own satiating my own lust. This thought process itself is just very much self-centric. Then Krishna goes on to explain that such a person with such a thought process starts engaging in very horrible work which destroys their own consciousness, which destroys others as well. And they are looking for very impermanent, very temporary gratification. People may even jump from some buildings just to get some more views in their for number of followers. So to gratify some senses, to get some that superficial appreciation, and their anxiety is immeasurable. How can I get more number of likes, or how can I get more and more wealth and more sense gratification? And then they engage in all kind of illegal means to satisfy them. And the whole thought process, even with that illegal gains, is I already got so much. Now I'm going to increase in future more and more. He is my enemy who is problematic for my sense gratification. He is the other person who is spreading wrong information about me. I have to kill them. The other guy has also taken care of this. I already settled score with him. With all that kind of demonic thought process, one starts thinking, okay, now I'm getting succeeding in my activities and I'm getting better and better, and I have become now very powerful, and I'm great enjoyer. And now at this level I can throw away some charity, and with that I'll be able to acquire some great places in heavens, and I can enjoy in heaven also. So my this life, next life is sorted out very nicely. But with this so much of anxiety and illusion and politics and so much of these all these kind of things, person actually starts slowly wasting his very important part in his life and dragging down towards the hellish planet. And then he becomes envious of even Supreme Lord also, who is actually greatest well-wisher for him. And such a person becomes a very pathetic situation. It's very unfortunate destination that he lands in, surrounded by all demoniac relatives, all demoniac so-called well-wishers who just wants to exploit all his resources, capabilities, and surrounded by them, the whole group goes down to the hell, sinks down to the hell. So Krishna says that these three gates which are leading to hell, which are lust, anger, greed, we need to be very conscious to guard our consciousness from him, from these three things. And one who the important part, Krishna actually ends his very practical guidance that scriptures tells us that what to be done, what not to be done. We should not be acting out of our own whims. So one who follows the regulations of the scriptures, and one who leads the life by practical applications of the scriptures, such a person can achieve proper perfection, happiness, and supreme destination. So we have to resist small compromises. We have to resist temptations, and we have to strive to develop the divine qualities. Thank you so much for your attention to this interesting class. And we'll end up today by chanting our one final Hare Krishna, and then see you for the next session.